Hey, Rachel!
What?
Take a look at this. Never seen anything like it.
Explosive alien action. Oh yes, we are talking about the movie Alien Siege, a 2018 movie directed by Rob Palantina by The Asylum. This is an aliens versus humans smackdown on a very low budget. So this was directed by Rob Palantina, as I mentioned. Now he actually directed the quite recent Asylum movie Flight 666, which is actually pretty good for an Asylum movie. So let's talk about this one and see how he does here. So Alien Siege focuses on really quite a small cast here. We have the President of the United States, and he's got a couple of aides, and you know, this is on the kind of a verge of an alien attack, and they are, you know, destroying America as they do, and he basically escapes on a helicopter with a couple of kind of like military types on it by his side. And then we have this other group of characters, essentially this family, you know, a father, a mother, teenage son, and his kind of friend. And the president's copter kind of goes down in the kind of middle of nowhere, and this family happens to be kind of the only people nearby. Help the president try and kind of fend off this wave after wave of alien menace. So that's pretty much your Alien Siege plot right there. So Asylum movies, in case you don't know, very low budget kind of company, knock out lots of movies on a very kind of like quick basis, and a lot of them are kind of mockbusters. This one, I guess, is kind of a kind of Independence Day. It takes place the day before Independence Day, so it seems a little of a weird time to release this one, considering, you know, there you go. But nonetheless, here we are. So what's it like? I've got to say, I was actually quite impressed with the initial kind of part of this movie when we have these kind of like these CGI kind of alien ships coming down. For a kind of a low budget movie, they actually look pretty good, and there's actually some quite nice effects here. You know, they're on the lower budget side, don't get me wrong, I'm not just saying that they are comparable to a Hollywood blockbuster, but nonetheless, for a low budget movie, I actually thought they did a pretty good job here of having a few kind of decent shots. You know, some kind of nice shots of the aliens sort of craft coming around and kind of flying after the sort of helicopter and stuff like that. All pretty good. And then we kind of obviously we have the kind of the crash landing, etc. And these are sort of main kind of plot takes up where we have these kids. And then the action kind of grinds to a little bit of a halt. So when we have our two sets of heroes essentially kind of meet up, they encounter essentially the ground troops, which are quite interesting because there's kind of like power armoured kind of like soldiers that almost have like a Predator sort of style electronic camouflage. That it's not quite as transparent as a Predator, but I kind of thought that's maybe quite a nice idea. Maybe we just can't see them very well. It's just, you know, whatever. But anyway, it's really just to disguise the fact that obviously their suits look quite cheap. But nonetheless, I thought it worked kind of well. But the thing that really made me laugh with this movie is the non-action sequences, I will say. Actually, there are plenty of conflicts within this movie, I should expect with a movie called Alien Siege. But when we have our interactions between the alien soldiers and our heroes, they're the most uninteresting, slow-moving action sequences you've ever seen. I mean, this alien species must not be able to run, I'm assuming. They can only walk very, very kind of slowly, casually along, and when they see one of their targets, they can't just kind of raise their gun and fire. They have to slowly kind of saunter around, point the gun in a general direction, wait till the good guys get a shot off, and maybe then fire off a few shots. It's ridiculous. So Rob Palantina, I feel, has done a pretty good job of the horror movie in regards to Flight 666. Maybe action sci-fi, not so much, because there's no real sort of sense of fun really in this movie, or kind of, you know, the action is just very, very dull, and that's what you want to watch if you're watching a movie called Alien Siege. And I can forgive a low budget, and I can say that obviously there's some talent here, because the first half, which was, well, the first third really, which is all the kind of the CGI ships, actually pretty good. But when we get to our ground assault, man, it's dull, and ideas are kind of squandered, I feel. And cheesy dialogue, as you probably expect. Don't mind that so much in the kind of a low-budget big movie, but what are you going to do? I actually thought the characters were quite good, and I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit when we have the son who happens to be, a massive computer whiz and can hack in, and of course the father's ex-military, very handy. But I actually thought they did quite a good job of kind of making him bicker with his kind of female friend and about the best way to do it. Some little nice kind of like subtle nuances here and there, but this movie really loses steam in its action, unfortunately, which is so poorly staged and so dull to watch. Any kind of goodwill that is generated through other areas are unfortunately somewhat eroded by some really uninteresting action sequences. There's quite a lot of them. There are quite a lot of sequences, and I'll be honest with you, the editing as well. I mean, we are interested in the story of the kind of the president kind of crash landing and then meeting initially these two teenagers, but then we have this really long extended sequences where the mother and the father are kind of like trying to avoid these aliens and trying to get this orb thing, and it goes on forever. So yeah, it needs to be a little bit more kind of like, you know, faster paced, and the kind of the editing needs to be a bit more kind of in places, cut down kind of more of the mundane scenes. So there's worse movies, I would say, because I do feel that it does have some good elements. The spaceships are quite good. I quite like the idea of some of the aliens technology, and when we actually see the aliens under the mask and stuff, I actually thought they looked quite good. I mean, they're kind of weird looking. But I'm thinking of an Australian movie that the name escapes me, that I watched quite recently, that basically was a similar sort of thing, alien invasion, and the aliens look ridiculous in that one. Here they actually kind of look quite ferocious and quite kind of like not typical kind of like what you've seen before. They actually kind of remind me of Beastman from Master of the Universe. So I kind of liked it, but you don't see a lot of it. So overall, I'll give this film a 4 out of 10. It's okay for a kind of a B-movie time waster, so to speak. But yeah, man, those action sequences, or inaction sequences as I've now dubbed them, are pretty poor. So if you've seen it, what did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.